Okay. Greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. We're going to talk tonight about manimals. Y'all are nothing but a bunch of manimals. And we're going to show you all about hypothecation of customers, securities, and conversions and all that, but we're going to try to simplify it, just give you some information so that you can research for yourself, because I don't want you to believe me. I don't want you to believe your neighbor. I don't want you to believe the government, and I sure as hell don't want you to believe in your mother. I want you to do your research so you know. Quit believing, because it's all messed up and you have a miscomprehension of what's going on. Hopefully I'll shorten it up and make it sweet. In so doing, make sure you hit that share, like, and subscribe button. I do have both channels going. The original channel is back up after being striked for 2 weeks for medical misinformation. I do have the alternate channel. Both of those are pinned in the chat, or up in the chat. The PayPal button is pinned in the top in case anybody wants to share some love through that. And so be sure to, if you're subscribed on one, subscribe on the other, hit that notice bell, and let's get going with this. Oops, wrong one. Okay, we are looking at 7 U.S. Code 136. This is the agricultural title. And if you're familiar with traveling and driving issues, one of the main proponents about agriculture is that farmers, like the Amish as well, use a triangular placard on the back. It's just a orange placard with a red border that's reflective, and that's a symbol for agricultural use. Okay. That follows under the 7 U.S. Code agriculture before it's converted to a commodity. Okay. Before it's converted to a commodity. We're going to go down. We're going to look at the definition animal. And this is put in the detail section in the YouTube link, or down below in the YouTube video. And D, animal. The term animal means all vertebrate and invertebrate species, including but not limited to man and other mammals, bird, fish, shellfish. So I want to ask everybody, can you license an animal? One question. If you know the information and how it works, one question will screw them up, because it brings in contradictions that they can't and won't explain. It brings in the contradiction of the conversion. Okay? The conversion is called hypothecation of customers' securities. And we're talking about Social Security Administration, which starts at the enumeration at birth, wherein a name is filed and given a number. So they took your name and gave you a number, just like the Secret Agent Man song says. Now, every time you use one of those government instrumentalities, it's in relations to the gross domestic product. It's a record system that tells them what their profits and expenses are. And you, as a customer, in all situations, are using those government instrumentalities, and you're not customizing them. You're not customizing them. That's a associative document. And when they give it to you as a customer, you're supposed to customize it. So even the receipts, like I've said, you're supposed to customize them. You're supposed to get those receipts back and say, okay, Here's the receipt to now convert it back to the credits that go back to my account. The customer agrees to make third-party payment so long as it's understood that credit is given to the customer's account. So if I'm required to give cash, check, or money order, something like that, it has to be converted to credits. Period. That's what the bank does when you withdraw cash. That's in a credit system, electronic transfer system. 17 CFR 240.8C-1, hypothecation of customer securities. And let's first talk about general provisions. No member of a national securities exchange and no broker or dealer who transacts. So in a transaction, there is always going to be a member of a national securities exchange or a broker or a dealer conducting that transaction. Even when you go to a local grocery store, you walk into that store, everybody calls you a customer, and you're going to perform a transaction per the form. Okay? You have to customize those forms. A business securities through the medium. One thing, something in the middle, and another thing. Medium. That's indicative of a trustee of a public trust. Of any such member shall directly or indirectly hypothecate or arrange for or permit the continued hypothecation of any securities carried for the account of any customer under any circumstances that will permit the commingling. Enumeration at birth is the automatic inducement of commingling by a dual citizenship, a resident of the state and a United States citizen, wherein the resident of the state is known on a register, a Bureau of Vital Statistics register, as a resident under a birth registration, and the United States has no such birth registration. So the state resident, along with the state, is implied to cede its jurisdiction to the United States. And therefore, the debtor or co-debtor. The United States is the debtor, the state is the co-debtor, and they hypothecate that. And now the state becomes the beneficiary and you're the debtor. That's the hypothecation. It's just like subrogation. It's a switch. It's a conversion. They're all the same thing. Carried for the account of any such customer with securities carried for the account of any other customer. So the state itself is a customer of the United States securities, creating their own securities. Look up your own state's blue sky laws. Those are state securities, and that's what you're operating under. And they switch everything. They customized everything, and now you're supposed to customize everything. And it's all being bought as a debt from the United States without first obtaining the written consent. So again, just like the driver's license that I've explained in the video I did where the certification is false because you did not give a handwritten statement of your intent and therefore consent. It didn't happen. It has to be a handwritten statement of your intent. That's known as consent of each such customer to such hypothecation. So what they've done is they've taken a primary obligation of the United States under 18 U.S.C. 7, Special Maritime Territorial Jurisdiction of the United States, 18 U.S.C. 8, Obligations and Other Securities of the United States. And the state is a customer, and they hypothecated it, and they made you a customer, and didn't teach you about the customer transactions you're supposed to conduct as the holder of that instrument. And now the obligation and duty is to enforce it. And if you don't know how to enforce it, somebody else is going to use it against you. That's how they enforce it. It's called hypothecation of customer security by converting an agricultural presence to a commodity in person. They convert the man's labor to a personal commodity. Definitions. For the purpose of this section, the term customer shall not include any general or special partner or any director or officer of such member, broker, or dealer, or any participant as such in any joint, group, or syndicate account with such member. In other words, you have to be foreign. So all of these transactions are foreign. Like I've said many times, you are foreign in all cases. Broker or dealer or with any partner, officer, or director thereof. The term shall also not include any counterparty who has delivered collateral. Now that's what they're hypothecating is they're hypothecating the asset to a collateral investment by use of paperwork. The manual work for paperwork. To an OTC derivatives dealer. Pursuant to a transaction in an eligible OTC derivative instrument or pursuant to the OTC derivative dealers or cash management securities activities. So the customer, as I said before, you're supposed to customize it. That's the verbal action. That's the verb. You're not a person. The customer is the verb action. Whether you do it written or oral, it's verbal. Or pursuant to the OCC or ancillary profile management securities activities. Ancillary portfolio would be the Social Security Administration through a directive from the Department of Defense for enumeration at birth requiring birth registration of any residents born in the state and who has received a prominent written notice from the OTC derivatives dealer that, and I'm going to let anybody else that wants this carry on. But in here it says Securities Investor Protection Act of 1970, 15 U.S.C. 78 AAA through 1578 III. Look that up. That's foreign trade and commerce. Like I said, it's all foreign trade and commerce, all foreign transactions. And under 15 U.S.C. 1 and 15 U.S.C. 3, it is a trust violation. Remember the medium? They are the trustee. So let's look on to the next one. This is 17 CFR 248.3 definitions. So again, it's the commodities, commodity and securities exchanges. So you've got a security instrument in your hand and you're exchanging it and it converts to a commodity. Converts the work to the manual work to a personal work. Spiritual, manual, personal. And it goes into definitions, tells you what an affiliate of a broker or dealer investment company is. And those courts are investment companies. That clerk is appointed. Think about that. Just things to trigger you and get you start thinking. Remember, the biggest trigger should be, can you license an animal? Here we are. Customer. Customer means a consumer who has a customer relationship with you. Relationship is that verb, that actions, the actions that you, in the transactions, the actions that each participant takes. Yep. all a relationship with you. Customer relationship means a continuing relationship between a consumer and you. So if I'm the customer and I have a customer relationship, what is the consumer? And what is the customer? Customer means a consumer. I'm the man who consumes things, so I'm the consumer, and the customer is the person. So as the consumer in my manual capacity, I have to do some writing for the person because they can't do it. So I have to do the customizing for the person who is known as the customer. It's the person that's going to be heard in that dictation, in that world, under which you provide one or more financial products or services to the consumer that are be used primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. Here's that personal rather than the manual or spiritual. Family is a military term, and household is a commercial term because you're the one that's always holding their instrumentalities instead of creating your own instruments and sounding off verbally. And that brings us to the conclusion of today's video as we sound off and tell you once again, I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back or not. Yeah, it's up to you. Again, now that you know, you have an obligation, just like feeding a man for a day if you give him a fish, but you feed him a lifetime if you teach him to fish. The principle is that if you teach him to fish, he goes on to teach others. And now that you know this, you have an obligation, like I said, to at least research it so you can know it and pass it on to others so they too can free themselves. Have a good day, everybody. Oh, and remember, hit that share, like, and subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. And please, if you feel like sharing some love, hit that PayPal link in the comment section now. And on the El Perro channel, I can post that link. I'll go back and edit it, and it will be there. But for the new channel, I need new subscribers to build that up so I can start posting those links and linking other channels and stuff. So until that happens, keep sharing it, liking it, subscribing, so we can build that alternate channel up so that when they strike the original channel, we can go over there and it doesn't matter. Okay? In the meantime, because the strike is removed from the other channel, I am streaming to both YouTube channels and my Facebook channel, which will be a regular occurrence until I learn and figure this out so we no longer get strikes, and then the content will vary. So until then, again, God bless. Love y'all.